Hello and welcome aboard. This is a bit of a demonstration flight of the new autopilot installation on the moon here. It is a windy and somewhat bumpy day. We just got our IFR altimeter and our transponder certs done. Those are the 91, 411, and 413 certifications. We're flying back home right now. Weather down in Wilmington is VFR conditions with some gusty winds pretty much down the runway, winds 220 at 16, gusting to 27, with peak winds at 30 knots, pretty much right down the pike. One of the features...
one Quebec Hotel, descent house discretion, maintain 2000.
Descent 2000, could we get the RNAV to runway 24?
Mooney 1 Quebec Hotel, roger, you can expect that, and house approach terminate.
That'll be a full stop, thank you. In any event, I want to just walk through some of the features.
1 Quebec Hotel, flighting 135, vector, RNAV, runway 24 approach.
135, vector for the RNAV 24, 1 Quebec Hotel, thanks. Alright, so 135, we're going to be on a heading select, heading mode selected and indicating. At 5,000, we're going to go down to, I believe it's going to be 2,000. Our discretion. We've got the ATIS, pull up the approach chart here. And I'll walk, as we're descending, I'll walk through some of the features of the autopilot.
And expect vectors prior to topsy for the approach.
Okay, clear to topsy and then prior to topsy for the approach, thank you. And then he's vectoring us to topsy now because the wind's pushing us way to the east. We'll go direct to topsy, back to nav mode. And the autopilot will track that. See what our crab is. We've got a 30 knot crosswind essentially right now. Full feature digital autopilot. There are some limitations to it in terms of 800 on departure AGL and 200 on approach. Essentially gets you down to category 1 minimums if you'd like. Some of the nice features on this are the mode control panel is very well organized and ergonomic. Pretty intuitive autopilot. Works very well with the rest of the Garmin stuff. It's really seamless integration. It is easy to do some things, like for instance I adjusted our fine altitude 10-foot adjustments by accidentally hitting the up and down button here. Vertical speed mode, that's primarily what it's used for. It's also used to adjust the indicated approach or the indicated airspeed mode for approaches and or climbs. Just starting to really figure out what the flow is for the autopilot. Haven't used it much in IMC, just VMC conditions so far. What I found so far is that it's useful to take off go around mode, toga, or toto, with heading and altitude selected, and then once we get up to 800 feet, we'll clean up the airplane. I put it into cruise climb about 120 miles per hour indicated, or about 100 or so knots indicated. And then at that point, I'll climb and indicate airspeed mode for cruise climb. That'll give me about a 500 foot a minute climb right up to altitude, say 5 and 8,000 feet. And then for descents, I've been primarily using the vertical speed mode, gaining some airspeed on descent. Today, we're going to probably want to stay around, something reasonable, stay out of the LR because it is quite bumpy. It's not a day where we have to stay right over at VA, but it's definitely not a smooth air day. All right, I'm going to brief the approach, and then I'll be right back with you and look at some more features of the autopilot. All right, the approach briefing is completed here. So we've got pilot's discretion down to 2,000. We'll start our descent now. Just show you some of the flows of the autopilot. Alright, so we've already got 2,000 selected in our altitude selector. And what we're going to do is select vertical speed. We're going to start down. at about 500 feet per minute. I put that in our VNAV calculator here, 3 miles before topsy. Gives us a vertical speed required of minus 350 feet per minute, so that's fine. And 201 Quebec Delta vacating 5,000.
Project. Sirius 1 Papa Alpha, contact Fayetteville approach.
This will be the RNAV approach. We'll join from topsy.
Let me know when you want to climb higher.
Or inside topsy and outside Sumley is the final approach fix. We've got our destination ATIS already.
Sirius 1 Papa Alpha, do you copy?
Copy, going to let you know if we need higher 1 Papa Alpha.
The tower on there.
3 Charlie Alpha, Wellington approach, maintain VFR, squawk 21503 I for our clearance.
I'll keep an eye on our speed as we descend here. Typically what I do is I leave everything dialed in for a cruise climb that's economy mode or lean of peak operations.
Charlie Alpha, radar contact.
Right now I'm about 20 lean of peak.
Altimeter 29er,
Descending through 4,500. And we'll follow this down and then we'll enrich it once we get down.
Correct, and clear to Bennettsville Airport via
Outside,
direct, maintain
our final approach fix.
4,000 or 6,000.
Some people will fly Lena Peak all the way down to the potential go-around point. I just leave it.
3 Charlie Alpha,
Go around the final
maintain
approach
4,000 and read back correct.
Enrich in the mixture. Alright, so we're 160 indicated, about 185 miles per hour, and then we're touring at 167. So in the green arc still. Our altitude at topsy is at above 2,000. If we were doing the procedure turn, he's probably going to vector us inside of Sumley, and then the intercept is 1,800. We're in nav mode right now for the lateral. Heading nav approach are the primary ones. You can also use a track if you didn't have a heading and an indicated or a magnetometer hooked up to the system. This one has one of the GMU-11s as part of the integration with the HSI and the 430. If we were following STC, we could hook up nav2 because this is an airing out, as well as nav1 to the HSI, but the STC says we have to give up the CDI, which I like to have as well, so we've got that separated right now.
ABN 3 Charlie Alpha, contact Myrtle Beach approach on 100.2, good day. Turn right heading 150.
150, 1 quick 10. So one of the things I have to get used to is the muscle memory used to be, when I was getting used to the G5s, is I was push the button to get to the appropriate selection, whether it's heading or altitude select or whatever. And now the more efficient way is actually to use the mode control panel up here in the 507. One of the great features about this autopilot, we end up going with the fourth axis, which is the yaw damper. It's really bumpy take, and I deselected the yaw damper function. And what we get is more tail wag. That's essentially what it cuts out. It also keeps our ball centered, as you can see, on descents and climb, so essentially it's a foot off operation. 1,000 to go for 2,000. Alright, got tower dialed in, we've got our RNAV approach set up. Activate the leg, the Sumley. Topsy assembly, activate that. We're in heading mode on a vector. This will be dialed in and get the LPV outside assembly. If these are hooked up with a 650 or 750, you have the option of VNAV path, both in potentially IFR as well as VFR conditions, and it will, I don't know if the autopilot will actually fly the VNAV advisory path for visual approach guidance. Have built in now, but it will do the step down fixes, etc. I think it's to a mile outside the final approach fix. It's not totally seamless, but in terms of integration from the in-road structure to the approach structure to the final approach fix, but it is pretty nifty. 200 to go. Alright, so we're blasting down here on final. He's going to have to give us a vector pretty soon here, or else we'll overshoot. So I'm going to start slowing down now. Switch in the mixture.
Moving 1 Quebec Hotel, turn right heading 210 and set the final approach course.
210 to join 1 Quebec Hotel. Alright, 210, on final, terminal mode.
Moving 1 Quebec Hotel, 6 miles from Sumley, maintain 2000 until stops on the final approach course. Cleared, RNAV runway 24 approach.
RNAV 24 approach, 6 miles from Sumley, 2000 until establishment 1 Quebec Hotel. Alright, so we've got our lateral path, we don't yet have our vertical path. Cars starting to come in. Approach mode is armed right now. The approach mode is armed. Glide path is now active.
Crossroads 11, Wilmington approach, 1 altimeter 29990, say request.
Wilmington approach crossbow 11, we're about 6 miles to the northwest of Cape Fear, and I'd like to amend my flight plan and go over to Elizabethtown and LZ Blade Lake at 1,500 feet.
Crossroads 11, roger, ident.
So we'll fly this approach in
1-1 with the flash.
category B. Part because the
radar contact 900 miles
headwind is 34 knots and our ground speed is only 87 right now.
Town, and what's your delay there?
I'll be about 20 minutes across the 1-1.
Crossroads 1, roger, and after that you're headed back to New River?
Okay, you're reviewing the best approach instructions straight ahead 3100 to Lurky. Hold.
I appreciate that, sir.
Establish on final. 3 miles outside Sumley. Within gear speed. The way the autopilot flies, it's pretty aggressive. As you can see, hands off on the yoke. It makes corrections almost as if I would. Kind of how I'm understanding it flies is, it flies pretty much like I would in approach if it was bumpy and windy. The old autopilot was a Sentry 2B. That would not have been able to handle a wind like this. It would have been a little bit all over the place.
1 Quebec Hotel, contact tower.
Over tower, thanks, take care, 1 Quebec Hotel.
No problem.
Tower 201 Quebec Hotel outside Sumley on the RNAV 24.
201 Quebec Hotel, Wilmington Tower, wind 22014 gust 23, runway 24, clear to land.
24, clear to land, 1 Quebec Hotel. Alright, gear speed's checked. A dot above, gears down. Down, down, and in. We'll check that again. A little bit of porpoise up, that's part of the aerodynamics when we drop the gear. And the autopilot is off by about 10 or 20 feet. Not bad for a very windy day. Okay, we're at Topsy. Glide path is captured. You can see that flash is there. And we'll start on our way down. Slow into flaps range. based on our ground speed, we're going to have like it's a 300, 400 foot per minute distance here. And departing our altitude, that's also our straight ahead go around is going to be 3100, so we'll set that for go around. Alright, flap speed check. Flap set takeoff indicating. And we're right on glide path, right on lateral approach path. The dampener's still on, we'll turn that off when we get down lower. Alright, we'll do our landing checklist. Our seatbelts are fastened, our fuel's on left. Boost pump is correction, our fuel is on right. Fuel's on right. Boost pump on. Mixture's full in. Cowl flaps are open, wing flaps are set, ram air is closed. Gears down, green, verified. Prop will bring that full forward once we're off the governor. Pitch weight ram. Alright, landing checklist is I'll just speed up a little bit to the top of the white arc just to show how the autopilot behaves in terms of descent rate and corrections. That was a little shear level there. And old autopilot, I would have been high fly at that point, and I'm letting this autopilot still fly. It's actually doing a pretty fantastic job. Wind straight ahead, great at 32 knot headwind component right now. More shear level here. Wind check, please.
Wind 22017, gust 27.
1727, thank you. Alright, so I got about a 10 knot gust factor, so we're going to plan for about 90 miles per hour, about 83, 84 knots. Start slowing over the fence. I'm getting like plus or minus 5 miles per hour. Miles per hour now. There's a minus 5 knots. Autopilot's doing a fantastic job still. Alright, I'm gonna fly from 500 down. Autopilot disconnect. Or for I want a feel for it as we are kind of gusty conditions. Alright, gears down.
Traffic.
Wind 230.
Traffic not available.
Thanks.
Quebec Hotel, you going to Modern Aviation today?
We're going to go to Seahawk Air Park East.
Quebec Hotel, Roger. You can make that left November, taxi parking.
November Park, thanks for Quebec Hotel. Okay, take care.
Flying Wilmington ground.
Anyway, thanks very much for joining today. Appreciate it. And feel free to direct message me or catch me on Mooney Space if you've got any questions about the autopilot, especially the kind of specifics
or maintain VFR at or below 2,000.
what the Mooney installation involves.
118.25.